Hi, my name is Darius, and today I'm with Bev.
My name is Bev George Taylor.
Today is July the 9th, 2009, and we're going to get started here. Okay, where were you born?
Okay, I was born here in Cedar Rapids in Mercy Hospital. And incidentally, my family also have roots here in Cedar Rapids and in Buxton, Iowa. My grandfather, George Taylor, was born in Buxton, well actually Mutchaconic, which preceded Buxton, in 1883. And my father was born in Buxton in 1910. And in addition to that, my mother's side, her maiden name was Miller, and her parents also. My grandmother, my mother's mother, was born in Mutchaconic, and my mother's father was born in Washington, D.C., but he was also recruited into the Buxton mines in the late 1800s. So basically almost my entire family root system does originate in Iowa, but I was born here in Cedar Rapids.
Where did you go to school?
I went to grade school. I went to Harrison School in the Time Check area, and I graduated from Roosevelt High School in 1956. It was a high school then. And then I went from Roosevelt High School to the State University of Iowa. And I took up chemistry, and I was there for 4 years. And from there, I got into the work world. My first job was at Collins Radio, which is now Rockwell. And I was fortunate enough to get hired in a semi-professional position as a chemist in the chem lab at Rockwell Collins. And I stayed there for several years, and then I left Cedar Rapids and went to Chicago. And I worked in Chicago in an electroplating company for a year. And from there I went to Minnesota, to St. Paul, and I worked at the 3M company for a year. And from there I went to California, to El Segundo, California, in the Los Angeles area, and I worked for the Aerospace Corporation. And I was there for 5 years. And after 5 years there, I took the federal exam for air traffic controllers. And I was an air traffic controller in Oakland Center in Fremont, California, which is in the Bay Area. And I stayed there from 1970 until 2000 when I retired. So I spent 30 years as an air traffic controller.
What did you do for entertainment in your younger days?
Pretty much the same thing as everyone does today. When I was coming up, the Jane Boyd Community House was one of the centers of sources of our entertainment. Pretty much the same as it is today. The YMCA. I started out as a youngster in the YMCA. That's where I learned how to swim. And the city recreational department had a lot of programs in the summer. I can remember there were playgrounds scattered all throughout the city of Cedar Rapids that provided our entertainment for the summers. They had baseball, each playground had a baseball team. And then they had an interleague between all of the playgrounds within the city, and that provided a source of recreation for all of the kids within the city. I frankly don't know what's happened to that program. It seemingly was one that worked when I was coming up, because it provided the kids in all the neighborhoods. There was a playground at Harrison. Basically, there was a playground at almost every school. And the kids in that particular neighborhood would go to that playground throughout the day, and there were activities that they would have for you throughout the day, plus the softball teams that each playground had. So that was pretty much the source of my and then during the school year, of course, Jane Boyd Community House was quite a center.
How has the civil rights movement affected you?
coming up in my era, the civil rights movement was definitely important. If I go back to my grade school years, I was fortunate, I guess you can say, in as much as that, as far as segregation or integration is concerned, Cedar Rapids was one of the areas in the United States that simply did not practice institutionalized segregation. The school system, as far as students were concerned, was totally integrated. When I went to Harrison, of course there were other blacks within the school, but in my class, I was the only black kid in my class from Harrison all the way through Roosevelt. So I had one incident in Roosevelt where I sat in class with another black person in 11th grade. But throughout my entire lower education, elementary school and high school, I can recall being the only black kid in my class. And in as much as that was the case, I don't really recall much in the way of any negative racial overtones. Racism at that time was an institutionalized thing. My experience was that the people who the kids that I grew up with and their families didn't really express any racial animosity, but there were institutions that how can I say, there were institutions in the society in Cedar Rapids and in Iowa that did practice discriminatory actions. What I can remember is that when I came up, there were no black teachers. I had an uncle who graduated from Cole College with honors, who had a real desire to stay within the Cedar Rapids public school system, and they simply, at that time, in the 50s, were not hiring black teachers. So we didn't have black teachers. So that to me indicated that there, somewhere at another level in our society, there was some discrimination. But as a child, it wasn't evident.